On 16th September 2025, the Office for National Statistics released its latest bulletin, Vacancies and Jobs in the UK. What it revealed was nothing short of historic. For the first time since comparable records began in 2001, Britain has experienced a trend that economists, policymakers and businesses alike are calling unprecedented. The report stated, the estimated number of vacancies in the UK fell by 10,000, 1.4%, on the quarter to 728,000 in June to August 2025. This is the 38th consecutive period where vacancy numbers have dropped compared to the previous 3 months, with vacancies decreasing in half of the 18 industry sectors. That one sentence that really stands out is 38 consecutive periods over 3 years without a single uptick. This is not a cyclical recession pattern, it is a structural transformation of the labour market. In past downturns, for instance after the 2008 financial crisis, vacancies fell sharply but stabilised or even rebounded within a year or two. Today, however, we're witnessing something entirely different, a slow, grinding decline that refuses to correct itself. For economists, the relationship between vacancies and economic cycle is usually predictable. Vacancies drop in recessions, then rise in recoveries. They reflect the ebb and flow of businesses' confidence, consumer demand and overall economic health. Yet the current trend has disrupted the predictable nature of vacancies and jobs in the UK. Since 2002, vacancies have been in constant decline. That's 38 consecutive rolling quarters of falls, stretching across governments, budgets and shifts in monetary policy. In fact, this represents the longest continuous decline in job vacancies since records began in 2001. When vacancies stay low for this long, it indicates more than a short-term slowdown. It shows employers are rethinking what it means to hire human beings in the first place. The problem becomes even clearer when we zoom into graduate recruitment. The ONS data was reinforced by shocking reports from recruiters themselves. One leading recruitment company highlighted the issue. The number of graduate jobs has shrunk dramatically. Reed, the recruiter, said it had listed 55,000 graduate jobs, down from 180,000 this time 2 years ago. Chief Executive James Reed likened the trend to a crisis similar to the blue-collar recession of the 1980s. Rival job site Indeed said the number of roles advertised for new graduates is down by a third this year compared to 2024.
Three or 4 years ago, we would have had 180,000 graduate jobs, recruiting graduates on read.co.uk. It's now down at 55,000.
Graduates, once confident of landing work after years of study, now find themselves in a difficult environment. Degrees no longer guarantee entry-level positions. This collapse echoes the 1980s when blue-collar workers faced a wave of industrial restructuring. Today, it's white-collar graduates facing redundancy before they've even started. So what is behind this historic decline? Economists argue it's a combination of factors, both large-scale shocks and smaller structural adjustments. But one force stands out more than any other: the introduction of artificial intelligence.
An unprecedented 38th period of declining job vacancies. We've never seen anything like that. That's more than 3 years of declining job vacancies. So this is a structural change, and I'd argue that AI is a very important factor in that.
For years, automation threatened manual jobs, from factory lines to warehouse logistics, but the arrival of advanced AI systems has expanded that threat to the office, the boardroom, the creative industries. Automated chatbots now handle customer service. Algorithms write reports, screen legal documents, and even generate marketing campaigns. The Institute for Public Policy Research has provided one of the most sobering forecasts. IPPR has modelled 3 illustrative scenarios for the potential impact of the second wave of AI adoption on the labour market, depending on policy choices. Worst case scenario, full displacement. All jobs at risk are replaced by AI, with 7.9 million job losses and no GDP gains. Central scenario, 4.4 million jobs disappear, but with economic gains of 6.3% of GDP. Best case scenario, full augmentation. All jobs at risk are augmented to adapt to AI instead of replaced, leading to no job losses and no economic boost of 13% to GDP. These numbers highlight the magnitude of the challenge. Even in the central case, the most balanced of the three, millions of jobs vanish. The best case, where AI augments rather than replaces, requires deliberate policies, reskilling initiatives, and strong adaptation by both businesses and workers. Not everyone agrees AI is the only culprit. Critics of Chancellor Rachel Reeves point to her employer national insurance contributions rise, dubbed the jobs tax. By increasing the cost of employing people, they argue Reeves inadvertently discouraged hiring. Employers faced higher wage bills, making human labour more expensive at the very moment AI offered a cheaper, scalable alternative. As the saying goes, the more you tax something, the less of it you get. Increasing employer national insurance contributions certainly played a part in shaping hiring decisions. Some companies, particularly SMEs, already struggling with tight margins, slowed recruitment or froze new hires in response. However, while taxes on employment have been a contributing factor, they cannot explain the 3-year-long industry-wide decline. The evidence suggests something deeper is reshaping the market. The rise of AI and the global adoption of automation is the principal cause.
And all businesses, I think, are adopting AI in some shape or form, whether it's just using ChatGPT. And we're seeing that it's having an impact on job vacancies. And our survey of employers that you just mentioned showed that 15% said they'd cut back on recruitment because of AI. And they're looking to automate. And what are they looking to automate away? Well, workers, unfortunately, seems to be the case.
This phenomenon is not unique in Britain. Across the Atlantic, American firms are making similar choices. One striking example comes from a global tech giant. IBM has replaced hundreds of workers with AI and now reports that 94% of routine human resources tasks are handled by artificial intelligence. This isn't limited to HR. In finance, AI processes credit applications. In retail, AI optimizes inventory and customer interactions. In media, AI drafts articles and generates advertising visuals. Even law firms and consultancies are experimenting with automation of tasks once reserved for junior associates. What began as incremental improvements in efficiency has now become a wholesale substitution of human labour. If Britain's experience is mirrored in other advanced economies, the world could be entering an age of structural labour shrinkage. Jobs, once the cornerstone of economic growth and individual identity, are no longer the guaranteed output of innovation and investment. Skeptics might argue that technology has always displaced jobs, from weaving machines to the personal computer. But what makes today different is the speed and scope of AI's reach. Unlike past innovations, AI is not confined to one industry or skill set. It cuts across everything: law, finance, retail, healthcare, media, and logistics. The displacement is horizontal, not vertical. Already, newspapers and blogs are publishing AI-generated articles. Companies are testing automated marketing company. Students are submitting essays polished by AI tools. The disruption is already here. What makes this even scarier is the speed. Technology usually evolves in steps, slow, predictable. But AI, it's sprinting forward. Even the people who build these systems admit they're surprised by how fast progress is coming. Bill Gates put it perfectly. He said AI is the first technology he's ever seen without limits.
Where the AI is very intelligent, and when you put it in robotic form, it can do a lot of both blue-collar and white-collar jobs. The fact that's happening over the next decade, the idea of, do we really trust government to adjust the tax policies and make sure that, we're shortening the work week. So it's happening very fast and it's unlimited.
Think about that. Cars had limits, electricity had limits, even the internet had limits. But AI has none. As computing power scales up, so does AI's capability. And it's happening in real time right now. Moreover, the timing compounds the issue. Britain is facing sluggish productivity growth, high public debt, and fragile business investment. Unlike past waves of automation, which coincided with periods of strong economic expansion, today's AI disruption arrives during stagnation. This magnifies the pain. Fewer jobs, fewer vacancies, and weaker demand for labour, all while households struggle with inflation and stagnant wages. The September 2025 ONS report is more than a set of quarterly statistics. 38 consecutive periods of falling vacancies is not just a short-term dip. It reflects a structural transformation of the labour market. Graduates are feeding the shop first, but no industry is immune. Reeves's fiscal choices have added pressure to employers, but AI remains the principal driver of change. Britain now faces the challenge of adapting to a world where automation reshapes the balance between human and machine. The numbers make one point clear: the old labour market cycle has broken. What replaces it is now the defining question for Britain's economy.